Hello everybody, this is Rebecca Jane from StitchSlowly.com, and today I'm going to show you how to create a vibrant slow stitch green petunia on a striking black fabric. I hope you'll all agree that working with a black fabric background really makes the petunia pop. I've discovered a technique which I'll share on how to trace fabrics onto black fabric and creating the green petunia flowers, and then embellishing with threads, organza fabrics, and beads to create the slow stitch design. Do watch to the very end to see the final reveal as I frame the slow stitch project. A spoiler alert, it just looks fabulous. I do hope you will agree. So let's get started. How to transfer a pattern onto dark fabric using carbon water soluble paper. So you'll see I chose white. I have various colors, but this one is white, which makes sense to place it on for black to be able to transfer this pattern. And this pattern, this is my project I'm doing, so I thought let me show you how to trace onto fabric or transfer the pattern onto fabric. So I'm going to start with, and here with the paper came these little pens, or I'm calling it a pen, but it's not. It's just a little. All we need right now is I have already traced the pattern that I'm gonna do from using a light box, and now I'm placing the pattern on top of the transfer paper and then the material, and I'm making sure that I tape it down so it doesn't move. And then this little, I'm going to call it a pen, but it's not. I'm actually not sure what it's called, but it's just so that you can put pressure on the carbon paper. And all I do is just trace over the black pen that and I'm going to keep going until finally I'll have a design, and I will show you that when I'm finished. So now I'm taking I found out the name of this, and it's called a embossing stylus tool. And what I'm going to do is I've already, as you were with me on the first part of this, I took the carbon water-soluble tracing paper, and I used white to transfer this image onto the black, right? And now I want the green petunias, but I have to go with a different color because white, I suppose it would show up, but not as obviously as black would. And what I want to do here now is I'll trace around the petunia, but I also want to get the center where the veins are. I'm calling them veins. The white part, the little, well, they are veins in a petunia. And so I'm going to do that now. And the fabric I chose is this batik green. And I kind of try to pick an area on the fabric that had more like multicolored greens. It's going to be a surprise where I actually laid it. But so you're going to follow me on this journey. So I will, let me see, I'm trying to see if one end's thinner than the other. Okay, so as you I'm just tracing onto the black carbon paper, and again water soluble, so it will wash off. This is new to me, this whole process, because I'm used to using a light box for everything. So I'm very, very, this journey I'm on, and sharing my journey with you. So we're on this together. And this doesn't have to be, and I say this all the time, which probably gets annoying, but it does not have to be perfect. That's the beauty. And of course, we're going to use threads, cotton threads, to eventually embroider over these spots, and maybe also some white fabric. So you can see here, that was this. And we're going to, there's some white here. So I'll have some fun trying to cut, because this will most likely, I'll be putting some fabric on there, cotton fabric. And to add, because this is slow stitch, which we're using different kinds of fabrics and beads and stitching. I was always I've been a quilter for years, and hand applique. So it was a slow stitching, but hand applique. And I'm just in love with this because it has this you can use all these different kinds of anything you can add to a slow stitch. Beads, shells. I don't know why I would have shells to a petunia, but when I get to my, which I will get to my beach scene at some point after this one. So, and this I'm going to have this transfer paper underneath in my links, because I love this one, and it's from Amazon, and it comes with 5 of these tools. So I suppose if you lose one or 2, you have plenty, and it's not expensive. Not expensive, and you have 100 sheets. And then, of course, I'm going to just put a few little. So eventually, I'll have my the drops of the water. I'm sorry, I'm not. It's hard for you to see, isn't it? That I can add later. And then, of course, there's this, which is the little bud that I'm going to add. And I can't wait to. This is going to be fun because obviously there's little furry things coming out, which will be something we can work together on. What do we do to make that look, to have that look? I'm not sure. We'll see. So that, I think, oh, I just realized. Okay, just realized something. I'm going to actually finish this off, even though we're probably not going to, well, I'll use different greens. It doesn't hurt because I'm going to be cutting this anyway. You'll see. I think I did it. I'm going to just sneak underneath. I don't want to move it. I have it all. I think we're good. Oh! Okay. This is the exciting part. I'm in love. I love this carbon paper. And maybe you have used this before. I have not. And there we are. Look at that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut these out, these petunias, place them on my black fabric. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. And I think I got a good, and that's how, hopefully I didn't do it, there's no front or back. You know, sometimes all of a sudden you realize you're doing the back. Oh shoot, I think I did. We'll see. Anyway, if I did, I'll redo it. I have plenty of fabric. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Enjoy. So now you can see. Simple, not too difficult. Tracing this pattern onto dark fabric by using this carbon paper, which is which can easily be washed off if you wanted to redo it, or if there's anything showing out under the fabric. This is very crude example because because this is a slow stitch design. I'm going to be placing fabrics, layering fabrics. So I basically only need the outline of the petunia because the center is going to be in the green. And I have like these funky leaves, but because of the picture, you'll see it's blurred. So I don't know the shape of the leaves of petunias. So what will do is I will take a look online to see what shapes are the green or the leaves, and what kind of colors are they. So I'll actually just use this as a guide, but this won't be the shape of the greens. But I just wanted you to see how it works, and I'm pretty amazed because I very rarely work with dark fabric. It's always light. I can always use a light box, but the fact of the matter is that here I am using dark fabric. And we will start to see the development of this picture, which is actually a painting. I thought at first it was a photo. It looks so realistic. But we're going to have some fun with this. So I hope you enjoyed this. And this is Rebecca Jane. And subscribe if you like my videos, and a thumbs up. And I'll see you soon. Happy stitching. Hello everybody, just showing you how far I've come with the petunia, the green petunia, against the black background. As you can see, I decided I would try and do one of the petunias and show you a little bit of how I leave the second one without having been sewn and embellished, just to see how it looks before and after. So as you can see here, I started off with sewing, doing the little veins, sewing the little veins with white, and I kind of mixed it with a little bit of like a green and a lighter green, just to give it some texture, because if you look closely at the sewing, doing the little veins, sewing the little veins with white, and I kind of mixed it with a little bit of like a green and a lighter green, just to give it some texture, because if you look closely at the picture of the petunias, there's different, there's white and then there's a pale green, so I kind of mixed it up. And then I added, because I thought it needed more, how would you explain that? More depth, more three-dimensional look. And I wanted this the center of the petunia to look, to appear more real. Maybe that's, so I decided, I love organza, as if you follow me in my other videos, yes, I'm an organza lady, and I'm going to, in the future, do more things with organza. But I cut it down and I frayed it, and then that became, I placed that on there. And I also used the organza for this bud here, because if you see, that has some little spiky things coming out, or little soft, I'll think about how I can describe that. But you can see that this little it's very fluffy, and I tried different threads and a mohair. I thought maybe the mohair would work, but it doesn't. So I said, "Oh, back to the organza. Here I go." So I layered an organza piece underneath and then on top, and then I sewed it on, matching the colors of the bud, and then so the yellow at the bottom, and then I frayed it. I might cut it down a little bit, fray it a little bit more. I can play with it. The only thing is that the little pieces get on the fabric, but you can clean that off. Also, here I use that carbon water-soluble paper. And I will mention because I have a video showing it, how it works. It's really hard to take off water-wise. It does come off. I did wipe some of this white off of the black, but the black is really hard to come off. So but I'm okay with that because I'm sewing over it anyway. It's not going to be seen. And anything you do embroider, you're covering it with threads and embellishments. You'll never see it. But just to give you a heads up, and just in case you're, in case you trusted everything that this paper had stated that they were water soluble. I think it does come off eventually, but but it works really well, and I'm going to sew over. So what I'm doing here now is I'll just show you. I put some stems, some very dark, almost invisible stems here, because I wanted to pick up a little bit, create a background, a little backdrop, and I'll add a few little bright, leaves. But I don't want the picture. I want people's eyes to go straight to the petunias, the actual flowers, rather than the stems and the leaves. It's pretty. It looks pretty good. Because this is my first time doing this picture and something on black, I'm learning as I'm teaching, and that's how I seem to work. My life tends to be like that. Let me teach and as I learn, or learn as I teach. That's it. So let me just show you. I'll just go through this. What I did was I made a little white center, and you copied it on my paper here, and you'll see, this was, don't ignore the bottom piece, but I kind of followed the picture, just very abstractly, the picture of the center of the flower. And this is where, okay, you look at it and you say, well, it doesn't look like much, but can you see what happened here? You just keep building on top of it until it becomes part of the flower. And I just used a stem stitch, pretty much my go-to stitch. And I start at the top. And I think I have a video. It's called a stem stitch, how to do maybe I don't, but I will. I think I'll create one so that you can then look at how to do the stem stitch. So I'm not going to show you in this one, but I'll create another video for the stem stitch. And it's basically, it's a very smooth, much better than running. It looks better. It just blends in more. It's more of a natural type of stitch, I feel anyway, to recreate these little veins inside the petunia. And what I love about working on flowers in particular is you learn about the flower itself, because I go in and I Google petunias and green petunias. Is there such a thing? Yes, there is. And what are these little veins here? What do they do? So you kind of learn about the flower. So by the time you're finished with your piece, you've become knowledgeable, not just about how to embellish and how to create these beautiful pictures art pictures, multimedia pictures, but you also learn how to learn more about the flower itself. So what I do is I'm going to take this, so as you can see, it's completely covered, that line. And yeah, I think they were a little bit misrepresenting what they are, these soluble paper. But again, it's okay because you're going to go right over it. And if you don't, use something else. And if you have any idea or any other suggestions for me, just put them in the comments so that I learn. As I said, I learn as I teach. And that's just how it is. I think most of us tend to do that. So I'm going to the center, and I'll just stop there for now. And that's my one of the veins. Let me just make sure. Okay, so you can see, right? Now, let me just knot it off at the back. And I won't do the whole thing here. It can get quite monotonous. But I will mix and match mainly white threads with a few of the pale green, maybe even the paler, just like I did here. And then now we have the beading. So I'm going to show you the beading. And the beading, I chose beads because, as you can see here, the rain or the dripping off, like, it's dripping off the flowers. And I remember when I was trying to decide, how do I make it look like rain? And I'm not a beader. Maybe you're not beaders. But then I thought, beads. And I started looking for clear beads. And I have a variety of sizes. Actually, this is a blue. It came with some blues, so obviously we don't use blues. And just all different, and maybe there's a little white in there, that's fine, because as you can see, it looks white on some of them. And then what I'm doing is I'm just following. I didn't really follow any kind of, oh, let me show you from this end. So what I'm doing is I'm taking I'm trying to follow the larger raindrops and using the bigger beads for that. So I'm right, where am I? So I had put one there, and I'm using the thread. It's from my quilting days. I just happen to have it in my stash of threads. And there was a comment in the Facebook page, one of the Stitch Facebook page, on what's the best thread to use. And I just happen to have quilting thread, and it's a beige or whatever color this is, but it's not white. You want more natural, I would assume. And then you any needle that can fit through, so a very thin needle. And I'm going to just show you on my new. So I'm not going to do the beading yet for this, but I'll do the beading along here. So let's say what's the beauty of is it's rain. So it's going to be dripping from the flower, and usually it's in a straight line. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking a very tiny bead, which is, and the problem is they do roll all over the place. So you have to, have a place to put those beads. I use a little container to put the beads in, and then I take them out and just lay them on my other fabric, this one, just so I can see them. And there's the bead right in there, and there it goes, yeah. And then I sew it back down. I poke it through the original spot, and I go around, depending on the size of the bead, but probably 2 is just perfect. Just make sure it's tight on the back. So, and any questions or, anything you can offer me advice? I mean, I've been doing handwork since I was a child. So it's been a long, long time. but this slow stitching is new to me. If you have something that you can recommend, especially when you're tracing onto fabrics, that's a thing that I'm just learning, other than using the light box, which I'm obviously pretty comfortable with. So you can see here, let me make sure you can see this. Oops. There we go. The beading is here, that little bead. So I'm going to have drops just like this. I'm going to try and follow all of the drops from the raindrops. And I added these very green, like I said, I'm going to sew those down, I want to find matching threads so that it's really not, it's there, but it's not. The thing you want to stand out is these petunias that just kind of whoop, pop out at you. And I've decided I'm going to make this I'm going to make this a picture for my wall, as opposed to putting it in a journal. It's also, I think it's going to look quite pretty. So let's see. That's follow me on my journey, and I'll come back and I'll show you how far, once I get to the end of this and what I've done, I'll review it, and then it should be finished. So I hope you're enjoying these videos. This is a multimedia video, and it's all about how to create these beautiful petunias on black fabric, and the whole art of tracing onto dark fabric, putting fabric onto, placing fabric, then embellishing it so that it is as close, but not identical to the original picture. You can make it your own, and that's the most important thing, is that this is just a guide. This picture, the actual artwork, you might look at it and say, I'd rather do something else or add something different, and that's what you do. So there we go. Thank you so much, and I'll see you I'll see you soon. Happy stitching. And now the moment we've all been waiting for, the big reveal. Behold the completed green petunia design on the black fabric. The contrast between the vibrant green and the deep black creates a stunning visual impact that showcases a beautiful slow stitching piece. And you can see the beading that replicates the rain dropping from the blossoms, and the organza fabric that I used right here around the bud to create that feathery-like texture. So slow stitching is a wonderful way to relax, unwind, and create beautiful works of art like this green petunia. Remember to take your time, enjoy the process, and don't be afraid to experiment with different colors and designs. The possibilities are endless. Now, I encourage you to try slow stitching for yourself and create your own masterpiece. Please comment below if you have any questions or advice, or sharing your own experiences. Remember, the beauty is in the journey, so embrace the slow stitching process and let your creativity soar. Happy stitching. This is Rebecca Jane from StitchSlowly.com. Please subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, comment below, and I'll see you soon. Happy stitching. So here is my green petunia now framed. This was not an expensive frame. I think I bought it for maybe 13 pounds. And it's enclosed. I didn't have to glue this one down because it's not a shadow box. And I didn't have to cut down the shape, and it fit right in. I, obviously measured it. So I wanted you to see the green petunia completed in a frame. So here it is. Thank you so much. This is Rebecca Jane from StitchSlowly.com. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time, happy stitching.